I'm going to hand over to Cho for her talk, which is engaging reading activities for ESL students. Cho is a highly qualified teacher with Delta. She's a candidate for that, the CELTA, of course, an MA, the TQUK endorsed level 6 diploma in teacher training, diploma in ELT, Cambridge, the TKT, which is the teacher knowledge test, I think it's called still. So you've got a lot of qualifications behind you. Um, which was the hardest to do, just out of curiosity?
Actually, I think Delta is the hardest
Hmm.
one
Are you still
because
engaged in
we
doing
don't focus
it?
a lot on reading, actually.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I did my master's a few years ago, and it was just constant
Mhm.
reading and reading and reading, and then suddenly being faced with a deadline to do something with it.
Sure. Mhm.
But the easy thing in the masters for me was that there was no observed teaching practice, no lesson plans to write.
Oh,
And that's, of course, the big part of what would it be, module two of the Delta.
yes.
So, yeah, have you done that part yet?
Actually, not yet. I'm trying to work on that one next year.
Yeah, yeah. That's the only thing putting me off doing it. It's not because I don't want to do the observed teaching practice. It's finding the time and the money to pay for taking such an extended break from paid employment
Hmm.
because they don't pay you to teach these demonstration classes, I suppose.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, it is now 10:45 Polish time. So, Joe, over to you. Thank you very much for being here.
Okay. Hello, teachers. Should I say good morning or good afternoon? Okay, good morning and good afternoon, all the teachers. Thanks for joining my section. Actually, my section is mostly intended for how to say pre-service teachers who are really interested in creating engaging activities in teaching reading skills to your students. All right. So now let me start asking you some questions. Feel free to type in the chat all the teachers. First of all, I just want to ask you, uh, which skill is the most difficult one for you to teach? Whenever you teach English, reading, writing, listening, or speaking, could you please type in the chat all the teachers? Okay. Writing, speaking, listening. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yes. Writing. Yes. Listening. Writing and speaking. Mm-hmm. And what else? Reading and writing. I think most teachers have typed writing the most, right? So why do you join this section? Just kidding. So maybe some of the parts would be quite familiar for all of you. So think of it like this is just how to say recapping or kind of wrapping up your lesson again. Okay, so thank you so much, all the teachers. So now, first of all, I just want to start with the pictures. Actually, I'm trying to use the authentic pictures of my classes. So now you can look at these two pictures, teachers. So according to these pictures, what type of reading activities can we do? So if you have some ideas, could you please type in the chat very quickly? I will count from 5 to 1. You can type in the chat very quickly. You can write in short ways. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.5, 1. Time's up. Okay, if you still want to keep typing, it's okay. You can keep typing as well. I could see a lot of things here. Just jigsaw reading. Mm-hmm. Choosing pictures to create a story to read. Yes, of course. So pictures are really nice to create a story. We can also use for jigsaw reading, eliciting, predicting, match to the text. Anything else? Is that all? What reading activities can we create the most? Okay, no more, right? So now let's move on to another part. So for the next activity, I want you to focus very carefully because you need to look at that one quickly. And within limited time, you need to remember the data, as much data as possible. So all the teachers, now it's time for you to look at this one very quickly. I will give you 2 minutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now let's join the breakout room quickly. In breakout room, I want you to discuss what you have found out. We have breakout room and discussing the points. All right, so now for the rest of the teachers here, could you please type in the chat? Even just a word, it's okay. So from your reading, what do you remember the most? Actually, I know that I should have given you a chance to read more, right? But I try to show very quickly, and I ask you to join the room very quickly. So whatever it is, if you remember even just a word, it's okay. Could you please type in the chat? If you remember something from previous reading, please type in the chat. Oh, okay. Summarizing, graphic organizer, metacognition, monitoring comprehension. Reading is somewhere, okay. Key ideas, graphic organizer. Yes. Okay. Map. Yes. All right. Yes. Summarizing, monitoring, comprehension, graphic maps. Yes. I think you are able to catch up the keywords. Metacognition. Okay. Thank you so much. So now let's continue our section. Now you can try to have a look at next part. Next part is you need to choose which title is correct for the previous reading. So I will show you the previous passage again and take some time to read the passage. And then you need to choose which title is correct. You still have some time to look at the passage. Okay, so it's time for you to choose the title. Which title is correct? 1, 2, 3, 4. You can type in the chat for the answer. Okay, 1, 1, A. Okay, yes. Everyone has the same answer? Okay, thank you so much, all the teachers. So don't forget to think about the things we did in the class, because after we have finished everything, we are going to recap that section and try to reflect everything back. So now let's try to have a look at next one. Next one is we will do the action a little bit. So if you're at the back of the camera, you can, if it is convenient for you, you can turn on the camera. If it is not, it's fine. So I will say some sentences to you. You need to decide true or false. If it is true, you need to stretch your arms. Okay, you need to stretch your arms. It's okay. You will feel really tired because this is the first section and more sections are coming up, right? So you can stretch your arms if you think it is true. If it is false, you can raise your shoulders. Just do the exercise. Okay, before we do anything, let's practice our action together. If it is true, what are you going to do? Yeah, we can stretch our arms. If it is false, what can we do? Yes, you can shrink. In this way, you will have a little bit, how to say, relax from muscle pain. Okay, so now let me read out only 3 sentences. I will read out sentence by sentence, and you need to listen to me carefully. I will stop sharing the screen. So now the first one is, integrating reading strategies can support teachers. Integrating reading strategies can support learners in becoming active and purposeful readers. True or false? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So now my next question is, the QAR, question answer revolution method, helps the readers to find the answer only outside the text. I will read one more time. The QAR method helps readers find answers only outside the text. This or this? I don't know. Yeah, it's totally wrong because that information is totally opposite to what the idea is about. Okay, now another one. Another one is, summarizing helps reader focus on and remember the main ideas of a text. Okay, thank you so much, all the teachers. Thank you. Thanks for your participation. So now we're going to move on to another section. This is like you need to focus mainly on the activity. What I will just share the link to you in the chat. Okay, let me stop sharing the screen and share the link to you in the chat. So now you will have 3 minutes to be able to answer in the whiteboard. You can just click the link. So you will have 3 minutes to work with that. If you have some problems in opening the link, you can turn on or turn off your VPN, because in Myanmar, if we want to use some websites, we need to work with the VPN. That's why. Okay. Yes, a lot of teachers are answering. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. I think most of you have already finished. So now let's move on to another activity very quickly if you have done this one. So now this is the last one. Don't look at the chocolate. You might get hungry when you look at the chocolate. So this time you need to design a simple poster or infographic which can illustrate 2 strategies. So from the previous reading, you might get some ideas to design a simple poster. So there are 2 main strategies given in the reading passage. So at that time, you can use your own drawings, and you can also illustrate with some infographics to present your work. So, okay, suppose we have already done. We won't do this step in this section because it might take a lot of time for you to work. Now it's time for you to recap everything, start from the beginning until here. So Which things did we do? And what do you remember the most? If you remember some of the points, could you please type in the chat? For example, step 1, what did we do? And then step 2, what did we do? If you remember some steps, please type in the chat. All the steps in short way. If you don't remember, it's okay. But if you remember something, you can just type. Okay, reading for gist. Yes. And what else? We read, discuss, choose title, activity true, false, quiz. And what else? It's okay. You can take time to think about that. Yes. First time reading, second time reading for gist, activity, true or false, quiz. Read, discuss, summarize, controlled practice, and inferring attitudes. Okay. Yes. Discussion. Okay. Thank you. You recall back the previous one. So the first one you did is that discussion, quick exercise for general understanding, true or false, control practice matching. Okay. Just scan, practice reading for mood. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, all the teachers. So now we will try to look at the, how to say, the thing given by here, the strategies. So yeah, last is pre-practice. Thank you so much. So strategies. Before we look at the engagement matters, we will look at the strategies first. So because, according, how to say, according to Jeremy, I will just skip this one here. According to Jeremy 2010, learn to teach systematically first, then engagement will follow. Because, nowadays, most of us are really focusing a lot on creating the activities in an interesting way and in a very energetic way. But at that time, we mostly forget to arrange the lesson systematically. That's why, according to Jeremy, we can start trying to learn how to teach systematically first, step by step. If we know the framework, later on, we can put some engagement activities, some digital tools to get more engagement from the students. That's why we are going to follow that. So now let's think about the strategies. Recently, you think about the reading strategies, right? Most of you have written like reading for gist, reading for specific information, a lot of strategies you have already typed. So this time, you can reflect these 2 points together with your friends. So the first one is physical engagement and physical engagement strategies. Did you find any physical engagement strategies? For example, in the class, did you draw or did you smile or did you have to do something? And then next one is digital engagement strategies. Think about the whole process again. So did I try to put any digital tools when I prepare for the lesson? So you can think about these 2 more strategies with your friends. So actually, if you think more, you are able to get more ideas for that. So let's try to work together. Any physical engagement strategies and any digital engagement strategies.
Key. Yeah, definitely. Like obviously there's Kahoot and other like games now that people use. So that's probably a good thing to do. Like the I don't know if you've been to a previous talk by Glenn. He was showing this tool called Stickman. I really like that. It's quite interactive and good use to engage people and creatively in stories. That was really fun. So you could probably use that with your reading lessons as well, maybe.
I think that's a great point because if you've got a prompt that the students have to read and understand, and then the action that follows the prompt depends on their understanding, That's the
Yeah.
perfect mini reading lesson, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's probably like it's massive difference between we were just saying adult and young learners because
Mm-mm.
um you don't want to overwhelm people with like a long text, especially if they're children or teenagers. I think they already probably have a lot of that in school, so they don't want to do the same thing when they're coming to like English classes.
English lessons,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, but also how do you encourage people to read in a foreign language? Because that's very key. I think that's for me, like even for adults, they not really interested in reading in their own time, maybe.
Mhm. A
Um,
lot don't do L1 reading at all. I mean, what was the statistic from America that I think something like 25% of men do not read another book in their lifetimes after leaving university. It's
yeah,
something like that. That's
Yeah.
it.
it's terrifying when you think about it.
Mm,
But even seeing myself, I guess we really struggle with attention span, like because
hmm
like,
Fortunately, we do.
yeah, we kind of used to very short information and like skimming text rather than actually deeper understanding and reading for understanding. But yeah, maybe one way to tackle it is actually find something that's very connected to a personal interest for your student. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a problem of interesting more than attention sometimes because quite a good reader, but if I'm not interested in the topic, there's no way for me not to skim. I mean,
Yeah,
so
yeah. It depends what I guess they're reading for and what's the English is, because if it's like for academic purposes, people will obviously have to read stuff they
yes.
might not be interested in. If it's just for everyday English, then maybe. Well, I actually thinking like because I teach ESL classes here in UK,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the most reading skills that people need is probably like just everyday English when they go to like doctors and stuff. So I think maybe using
Yes.
more authentic materials, like actually getting some leaflets from those places that is like a real language that I can encounter, might be like a way to introduce reading. That's
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, no, that's a brilliant idea. I don't have access to a lot of printed authentic materials these days, but I remember when I first came to Poland, they brought cuttings from a lot of magazines and things, and I would use
Yeah.
them even with A1 adults, and they'd see these authentic texts and think, "Oh my goodness, it's too difficult." But then if
Hmm.
you create the task to fit the students, you can actually show them, hey, you can pull a lot from this. So if it's like you say, a leaflet or something, simple questions like, who do you phone if you have a question? Getting that information out of leaflet will actually reassure a lot of students that they have the skills that they need to get by in life.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome back, all the teachers. So I think you have got some, how to say, discussions regarding these things. So for reading strategies, you have already discussed in the previous section. For physical engagement, what type of physical engagement did you find in the previous section? Could you please type in the chat? If you find something, could you please type in the chat? I'll be waiting for you. TNF activity. Yes. Anything else? So what about now? You're using your hands, right, to type something in the chat. That is also a kind of physical activities. Authentic text. Yes. Thank you. Story work activity. Yeah. So because when I work around different breakout rooms, I have found like some teachers, they joined here a little bit late. That's why they couldn't catch up. So let me tell you what I did. Let me explain it a little bit back. In this way, you can catch up the points. So the first one here is, so what we did first is, oh, wait, I have the problem with this. So the very first one for this is, before we do anything, I just show the reading passage to the teacher. So the teacher need to read the passage quickly and they need to discuss with their friends. Actually, they have limited information because I didn't tell them everything in detail. So when they come back to the main section, they need to type what they remember. So they need to type in the chat. That is the first activity we did. And then second activity is I show the reading passage again, and I ask the teachers to choose the appropriate topic out of these four. So they guess and they type. That is the second one. And then the third activity is I read out some sentences from the reading passage. Some are right and some are not right. So if they are right, teachers need to show their they need to stretch their arms. If they are not correct, they have to raise their shoulder. That is the next activity. And then after that, I give the teachers another task. That is we call word wall activity. You need to match the words and the definition together. And then the last one is we didn't do it actually in the class because of the time limitation. I asked the teacher to create a poster from the two strategies. So these are the things we did so far. So regarding these things, we just need to think about the strategies. Three main strategies here. The first one is teaching strategy, and second one is physical. So for the physical engagement activities, what I did in the class is true or false activity, like you said. And then I asked the teachers to type in the chat. So in this way, you can move your body and you can move your fingers, and to some extent, you can relax. And also another point is I use the breakout room section because I don't want to listen to me all the time. So kind of physically movement. And then the last question, if you know something, you can answer in the chat, teachers. Digital engagement strategies. Did you notice any digital engagement strategies in the previous section? If you remember some, you can type in the chat. What wall? Yes. Okay. So actually, in this lesson, graphical tools, maybe Canva. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Kenneth. I also use that. What wall? Okay. Yes. Turn it on, turn it off. Okay. Thank you so much. So as for me, when I try to find the that one reading passage, I try to get the exact from Publicity. I think you might know that one, Publicity. So I find some strategies from Publicity. That is the first one. So I used as a digital tool. And then after that, for some exercises as well, I assign Publicity to create the exercises for you. And then next one is like you said, I used word wall website to create the matching activity. And then next one is, okay, I didn't even think about it. Thank you so much. Turning your camera off when you read and turning when you finish, turn it on. That is also, we can count for that. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, and then maybe if we have a chance to practice in the class for the last activity, I would try to, check with some other AIs, maybe like kind of ChatGPT or any other things for your work. First of all, we will give the vote for your poster as a human, and then we will integrate the idea of the AI as well. Then we can choose the one who is very good at making a poster or things like that. So we can combine these three things. So because recently I read a research, in that research, what they have mentioned is whenever we create the reading lesson, we can focus mainly on these three things. In the past, we focus on only two main areas. But nowadays, because of the engagement of the digitalization, we need to put that one into account too. So first of all, we should know how to teach systematically, step by step. And then reading is boring. That's why we can ask our students to participate by doing some physical activities. And finally, we can add our point with the digitalization a little bit. So, all right. Now these are some strategies. I got those strategies from TKD core module book. Okay, yes. So reading for gist, for the first two activity, I did as reading for gist activity. So for example, I give a reading passage to you. You read the passage quickly. After you have read, you discuss with your friends, right? At that time, there is no target information. You discuss how much you remember the topic or how much you remember the information. Secondly, I asked you to choose a title. That is also a kind of reading for gist activity. And then the next one is reading for specific information. So I'm asking you to find some relevant information from the reading passage. But instead of sitting down and doing the worksheet, I ask you to use your body movement to some extent. That is next activity. And then reading for detail. So surely in the class, we will assign our students to read line by line, and then they need to focus on their reading. In that case, they might not know some of the sentence structure, or they might not be clear about some of the words. At that time, we can explain, or maybe we can just ask them to do some exercises on their own. So reading for detail. And the last section, we didn't do it in the class, inferring. That is like we can create something which is out of the box. So we don't want them to be the passive readers. We want them to be active readers. After they have read, they can create an activity. They can how to say, answer which is beyond their knowledge. So, or maybe they can create something new. So these are like some strategies. If you want to read about those things, you can try to find in this book too, because in this book, they have described the strategies in detail. And then another one is, these are like some suggested activities. So in here, I think most of you may know about the type of the activities. The first one is gallery work, especially when we in the class, we can use that activity a lot. So for example, from the reading passage, you can write down some sentences and then on the slip of paper and you stick on the wall. Number 1, number 2, number 3, you stick on different parts of the wall. Students in group, they can go around the class and then they can check each of your how to say blurb, and they read and they discuss together. That could be a kind of true or false activity, matching activity, or multiple choice activity. Anything can be added in there. And then maybe if you're teaching for, how to say, online class, we can also create gallery work, but you might need some assistance. For example, you can create like different types of breakout room 1, breakout room 2, 3, 4. And then in each breakout room, there will be some moderators. So they will be like, how to say, sharing their screen with one reading passage. And then breakout room 2, 3, 4 as well. At that time, the students, they will have a chance to choose the room as they like. They go around different rooms, they read, they come out, they read. So we can also do the same as physical class. So in this way, you know, reading can be a little bit more engaging. So that is one activity we can try it. I think most of you may know about that one, but for online version, you can make changes for this. And then next one is popcorn reading. You know popcorn, right? So what is the sound of popcorn? When you eat popcorn, what sound does it make? Chit-chat. Right? Yes. So, but that doesn't come out automatically. Sometimes, you know, it's not like not immediately. It has some pauses in the middle. So the same way goes to reading as well. Popcorn reading is we show a reading passage to the student, and then they can read on their own. So for example, we will assign one teacher here, maybe like, okay, supposing Teacher Gao, okay, I will ask him to read. Okay, Teacher Gao, it's your turn. He will start reading. On a time there was a king. And then after he has finished, I will assign another teacher very quickly. Oh, Teacher Kenneth, can you talk about that? Can you continue? At the time, he will continue like, oh, he had a very lovely daughter. So if he is not paying attention to the reader, might lose. That is especially for the students who are really, how to say, weak at concentration. We can practice popcorn reading. We show a reading passage and ask them to read one by one, but randomly you can call their name. So whether you're practicing in physical class or online class, you can work with that. And another one is jigsaw reading activity. I think everyone knows that properly because at the beginning you typed about jigsaw reading. So you know jigsaw puzzle, right? We need to connect the pieces of information to get the whole one. So for example, there are altogether 10 different paragraphs in your reading passage. At that time, we can cut the paragraph into pieces, and the students, they need to rearrange back. Even for online, they can also rearrange that one. We can play with some of the digital tools. And then read and draw activity. Maybe if it is for, how to say, physical class, you can ask the students to sit back to back. One person has to read the one that she wrote, and another one needs to draw the picture. For example, student A will start saying like, I have a cat. My cat has a very big mouth, and it has a small nose. And I think the color of the face of the cat is yellow. So at the time, another one needs to draw the picture according to the description. So that is also a kind of reading activity too. We can ask the students to read. Or maybe if it is something related to, the other stuff, they can also read too. So, but the thing is, we need to think about the classroom management matter a little bit. When they are drawing, sometimes it will be a little bit time consuming. So when we choose a text, we need to be careful about that. And then next one is read and pause activity. So read and pause is like, so it's like randomly. It's similar to popcorn reading. We read the sentence. After we have read the sentence, another one needs to, continue reading next one. So we could say like, this is quite similar, popcorn and read and pause. So we read, we pause, we read, we pause. So, and then, if you actually, you can also learn from this 100 the Sword activities book. If you need that, I can also share my email to you, and you can send me the email and I can share the books back to you. So the activities in that books are really great. Okay, thank you, teacher April. So, and then the last one is about AI. Actually, I have a plan to show you everything, but you know, the problem at the plenary section as well, Glenn had already shown a lot of items. So this is like a storyboard. If you have never used storyboard, you can try to use it. It's really cool. You can create different characters, and the students, they can see a series of it, but we need to spend time to create that. So storyboard and character AI. I also have found like Perplexity is very useful. I got it from Dr. Vic 2 weeks ago. He let me know that this is quite nice, and we can also find the relevant resources, and obviously resources are shown with the references, so it's quite nice. And Magic School AI, I think if you join the first section, you might know it. And then defeat me a lot of things. Now, I just want to share you a little bit for next part. Next part is SAM AI tools. I will share the link to you. Actually, those AI tools, I asked my teachers from the SOL classes do their presentation. So for example, different types of reading, listening, speaking, they try to work with their group members, and they try to demonstrate. After they have demonstrated, they put their information in a Google document, which AI tool is good for what sort of things. So I will share you a little bit here, and then share the link to you. If you're interested, you can also try to do research on your own. So are you able to see the screen? Okay. So actually, these are not just for reading. We can find different types of AI tools for listening, speaking, writing, lots of stuff. And you can also find some remark, because my teachers, they did the remark section, which can be very useful for everybody. So as for me, I haven't used all of them yet. Mostly what I found is it's very useful. This one, number 6, is quite useful. And for all those AI tools, you can try with the free account. It's quite okay. Free version is okay too. You don't need to buy any account for that. Reward Define, it's also quite nice, especially if you think the reading passage is really difficult for your students, you can simplify the text and you can find it in an easier way. And then you might know Cider. Cider is also a good one, especially if you have a YouTube video, but you want to change that one into teaching reading so it can summarize properly. So Magic School is really popular. So Write Sonic, Copilot, and yes, the other things also, you can find a lot of things here. And Go Read Summarizer is also nice. They are altogether 34 AI tools, and I will share the link to you to view that. In this way, maybe in the future, if you have time, you can try to observe on your own. Okay, so let me stop sharing the screen for this. So in the chat, I will share it to you. I think these tools can be very useful to you when you try to do research on your own. And don't forget the things we discussed in this section, especially for 3 things, because I don't normally give a lot of inputs. I give only a few inputs, and for the rest, you can do research on your own in the future. So the main 3 things are like, the first one is we need to know how to teach systematically through different strategies. And the second one is by adding some physical engagement activities, the lesson can be really interesting and more attractive. I think you all can be more creative than me because I know that most of you are well-experienced teachers. And then the third point is nowadays is a kind of digital age. So we need to put some digital tools into our teaching section. That's why if you need some help, you can try to look at that one, and you can also learn on your own too. Okay, thank you so much, all the teachers. Thanks for joining my section from the beginning until the end. And you can also enjoy the rest of the speaker section too. Thank you,
Thank
Chris.
you. Wow, well done. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us from basically around the other side of the world. It's fantastic. I think your school has every right to be proud of having you as a teacher. Your students will be very lucky to have somebody guide them through their reading. So thank you very much. And thank you for the resources that you've shared as well, even in the chat